Getting more reviews online is the single best marketing strategy to grow your law firm in 2025. However, we see a lot of firms miss out on this untapped opportunity in their business simply because their admin team either is too busy to actually send out review requests to the clients or they forget to do so. In this video, I'm going to show you a very simple but highly effective automation that will automatically send out a Google review request or the other platforms that you are using straight after case is closed in Clio Manage. The review email will look like this. You'll be able to personalize it with information about the client and their matter, also their responsible attorney or paralegal, and also have the link to leave a review on whatever your site of preference is, in this case Google Reviews. Again, the automation is very simple, it just contains these 4 modules. I'll show you in this video how you can build it for your law firm today, and also I'll provide the template if you want to just import this into your account down below or in my bio. Let's get going. Hey there, my name is Martin Kravchenko and I'm the CTO at Swans, where my team and I help law firms get their time back and increase their growth by implementing smart business operational advice and technological solutions just like this. So for the scenario that we're going to be talking about over here, what we want is whenever a matter is marked as closed in Clio Manage, it will automatically send an email to the primary email of the client associated to that matter, and also make sure that the matter is marked as review request sent, to make sure that obviously we don't send the review request multiple times to the same matter. So some preliminary setup that we'll need to make on Clio Manage is actually go to the custom fields section. You can find it in settings and then over here in custom fields, and make sure that we create a new custom field which will be called review request sent. It will be of type checkbox. It will be by default available in all new and existing matters, and mark it as not required. This will simply indicate that once we have actually sent the review request, we'll mark it as checked, right, as yes, and we'll use it as a filter as well for any future updates. All right, let's actually jump into the automation and see how it is set up. So for the trigger, we have a watch matters module in make.com, the automation platform that we are using for this tutorial. Whenever you set up a new webhook with the watch matters module, you'll have an option to select the events that will make that webhook trigger, right? So for example, whenever a matter is created, updated, deleted, etc. And so here below you have the 3 statuses as well. And so what I have simply done is I have marked the closed one as active, which will mean that this webhook will only trigger whenever a matter is marked as closed. Now, please take note of this expires at field over here. By default, these webhooks will expire in 3 days and you'll need to renew them. Actually, there is quite an easy workaround to make sure that your webhooks never expire. For that, just check out another video on my YouTube channel where I talk about that. And so they don't have to worry about these expirations and updating them manually. Once we have our webhook created and our watch matters module set up, whenever a new matter is marked as closed in Clio Manage, this will pretty much instantly trigger, and we'll get some basic information about that matter, such as its ID, display number, and some basic information about the client and custom field values. However, we won't be getting the full information. So for example, we won't be getting actually all the values of these custom fields or all the information that we need about the client. And so that's why we need the step over 2, which is simply getting all the fields and all the information about the said matter. As the input over here, we are passing the matter ID coming from step number 1, and in response we get a more complete object which contains all of the client information, including their first name, last name, their primary email address, obviously the responsible attorney, and then also all the custom field values, including our review request sent checkbox and its value over here, which in this case, for example, is false, meaning that the review hasn't been sent yet. What we do after that is actually we check the value of that checkbox, review request not sent, to make sure that we haven't previously already sent a review for this specific matter. Now, this will be a bit less relevant in this scenario as, for example, when you're working with webhooks that are for meta updates rather than change of status. But you can potentially see a scenario where you mark a matter as closed, then some additional work comes in, you mark it as open again, and then you mark it as closed a second time. And so to prevent the review request going out again on the second time, we do need this custom field, and we do need to check it in here for this automation. Now, how do we do this? We are using a map function because essentially all those custom field values come in a list format, in an array. We're extracting the value of the custom field, and we are filtering it by the field name, which equals review request sent. So essentially what this does is just grabs the custom field object for the review request sent and outputs its value over here. And so what we are making then sure is that it is equal to a Boolean operator, it is equal to false. And in case it false, then the next actions will get executed. After that, what we are doing is we are sending out an email. Here you can use Gmail, you can use Outlook, whatever email service provider you are using, and you can also fully customize how that email will look like. Unfortunately, with the Clio Manage API, we cannot be using the inbuilt Clio Manage templates for this, so this will need to be a separate template that you have defined in the automation itself. What we are passing is in two email address. We are passing the client primary email address coming from this step over here. As a subject, can be whatever you want. In this case, just review request from ABC law firm. And then in the content over here, it can either be plain text, which means that essentially the email will just be plain text, or we can actually use HTML, right? And so don't get really scared once you see this. You don't actually need to write this all up yourself. For this particular example, what I actually did is I went to Claude. You can also go to ChatGPT and said, write a Google review request coming from ABC law firm to its client in email HTML format. And so what it output is the code. And also you can actually see the preview of it over here. If you then need to make any changes, so for example, in here I wanted to change the attorney name, the email address, and the phone number, I asked it for that, and then it came up with a revised version with those changes implemented. So as you can see, you can just iterate like this, get the code that you need, copy it, and then paste it over here. Now, the only important thing that you will need to understand is that in this code, there is obviously, for example, the client name and also the actual link to Google. And so these two, if you look at the code, are defined over here in square brackets and over here for the Google review link. What we will need to do is we'll need to update those inside of our Gmail action over here, or Outlook action. And what I've done is I actually replaced then the first name with the token, right? The first name comment of that particular matter from the step number 4. And I also replaced the link to the review page to the actual business link where they can leave the review. You can find that in your Google Business Manager. Just copy this link and paste it over here. If you want to do some more customization, you can also do so. For example, I also decided to change the responsible attorney from, like the signature, from a fixed person name to the actual responsible attorney that was assigned to that matter. Potentially, you can also do some more advanced automation where you send it also from different email addresses. But in this case, you can just use a firm-wide email address such as firm@ or clients@ yourlawfirm.com and send it from there, simply changing then the signature name. After we have sent the email, what we'll then need to do is we'll need to update the matter to make sure that we then mark it as review request sent, and so that whenever, if it is triggered again for some reason afterwards, it won't execute this send email action. And so for that we use an update a matter module in Clio Manage, make.com. We are passing in the matter ID coming from step 4 over here, the identifier, And then in the custom field values, again, may look a bit cryptic, but very similar to the filtering that we have used over here. We're passing the ID of the review request sent custom field, which has already been assigned to the matter, right? As you can see over here, this, as it was marked by default, it already exists on the matter. You don't need to add it to it. And we are simply hard coding essentially the custom field ID over here to the review request sent. And then the value, we are passing it true, so it will update it from false to true. And once it is done, it will actually say, instead of no, it will say yes over here. That's really the only configuration that we have here in update the matter. Potentially, you could also add on another module on top of that to create a communication and log that email against the Clio Manage matter. You can do this with the create a communication module over here with the Clio Manage connector. But again, not strictly necessary. If you want that, you can do that. After that, just make sure that you save your scenario, and let's actually run it once and see how it works. I'll go to Clio Manage over here. As you can see, review request sent now is no. And what I'll now do is I will update the status to closed. After that, the automation should trigger, as you can see, pretty much instantly. It got the matter, it sent the email, and it updated the matter in Clio Manage. Let's actually see how that email looks like. So there we go. We have received the email. It is showing automation over here simply because that's how I have my automation account set up. But obviously, if this will be coming from your, let's say, firm email address, it will be showing the proper name of your firm as you have configured it in your Gmail account or in Outlook. As you can see, the name of the client, in this case, right, Martin, was pre-filled. And also the name of the responsible attorney, Laura Martinez, as you can see over here, Laura Martinez and Martin, were filled in dynamically. We then also have this button to leave a review on Google, which takes us then directly to our firm's website where we can post our review. Now, if you want to make this template again more pretty, just work with Claude or ChatGPT, ask it to make those necessary adjustments and improve the design and the format of this email. Now, some potential advancements that, again, you can make to this automation is adding, again, the login of the actual communication so that appears in this communications tab over here under the matter. What you can also do is you can create another automation on top, which will look for any new reviews left on, let's say, your Google page or on your Trustpilot page. And whenever one of them is received, look up the matters that have been recently closed for that particular client with that email address, and actually somehow mark the matter, again, using a custom field, that the review has been received. And then you can run, obviously, analytics on top of that, see what people still haven't left their reviews, and what is your general review conversion rate, which is an important metric to measure if you want to see if you are improving your review collection or not. Hey, sure, and actually please include this small section before I start talking about the potential advancements that you can, or improvements that you can make, because I forgot to talk about the custom field. So please include this portion over there. And finally, what we can see is that as well on our matter, the custom field of review request sent has been updated to yes. And so now if the matter, for example, is set to the open stage and then back to closed, let me activate the automation again to see what happens. If we then set it to closed again, this automation will run, but considering now that the custom field value over here is actually true for the review request sent, it doesn't pass through the filter, as you can see, and so then the email is not sent. That way, again, we're preventing the same review request being sent multiple times on the same matter. I hope that this has been helpful and will actually improve your review collection in your firm. Again, just takes a few minutes really to set up, but then this type of automation keeps bearing fruits as you go along, freeing up your team and making sure that you ask for reviews for all of you. Now, again, if you want the blueprint or the template to this automation, just check the link down below on my bio, completely free of charge. You can import it into your make.com account, just change out the connections and get going in a few minutes. Have an amazing day, and if you have any questions or issues that you're facing with automation, please let me know. I would be very happy to help. Like and subscribe to see more videos just like this. Thank you.